Hello everybody, how's it going? And welcome to the Just Chatting Gaming News and Trailers for the week of September 24th. Got a handful of news, handful of trailers. We're going to be talking about the massive Rockstar news that is not good. And that'll go down as one of the biggest, craziest stories in gaming history, I think. We have another Marvel game announcement. We got trailers for Solstice, Slime Rancher, more Marvel's Midnight Suns, and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, kicking things off with the lead story for the people who didn't hear this. Rockstar Games got hacked. And in particular, the brand new GTA that's going to be coming out in the next couple of years. So GTA 5 and GTA 6 had their source code hacked and leaked, in addition to a bunch of other info, including videos, gameplay for the new GTA. But yeah, this happened because of an internal Slack that apparently got compromised and hacked by this person. But yeah, this made the headlines earlier in the week, and yeah, a lot of developers are looking at this, and I think things are going to be buttoned up moving forward, especially for those who are using Slack. Now, this is a story that over the week has sort of progressed. So this happened on like a Sunday or a Monday, and then a few days pass, and then they actually catch the guy. A 17-year-old in the UK is the one that is responsible. He's also part of one of the hacking groups that also took credit for the Uber hack, and I think the NVIDIA hack as well, back several months ago. So, be interesting to see what happens with this 17-year-old in particular. But even with the hack and the release of the videos and the source code and all that, I mean, you guys know the GTA games are massive. The next GTA is gonna sell so many copies that they will be rolling in money. It doesn't matter what these hackers release or what they do. It's just not going to matter. Plus, it's a version of the game that's probably at least 3 years out, and so it's like, it sucks that it happened, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with the 17-year-old, and how does this change the gaming industry moving forward. So, yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Since we're live streaming on Twitch right now, for those who don't know, there's been a lot of drama about Twitch this last week, and it kind of comes down to two different stories. The first story is a bunch of the bigger content creators got together and essentially pleaded a case to Twitch, to which Twitch then responded about the gambling problem on the platform, and they released a statement on September 20th saying that they are essentially going to be banning a lot of what you can and can't do as far as the actual gambling here on Twitch, and that is going to take effect on October 18th. Now, does that mean that it's a straight 100% ban? No, it's not at all. But it takes away some of the more like shady stuff, essentially. And now that this has happened, there's been an outcry for more stuff to get banned on Twitch, like the hot tub streams and stuff like that. There's just certain things that people feel that are just not proper for the platform and should be removed. And for those who may or may not be aware of the greater history of Twitch, you know, Twitch is essentially a child of the old website Justin TV, which at the end days of Justin TV was a website that you could essentially stream anything. Twitch was born from the gaming side, and so it was supposed to be a gaming-only website, and now over the years, they've allowed more and more and more. It started with, like, the art category, the music category, the just chatting stuff, and then from there, it's continued to sort of escalate. And so at this point, Twitch is just turned back into Justin TV. And so some people have said that they need to just bring back Justin TV, put all the other stuff back over there, and then leave Twitch as just a gaming site. So it's hard to say what'll actually happen. So in general, that was seen as a positive story. Then a day later, and Twitch is being real shady about this. So it's like they release an update on the 20th that's a very positive in nature update. And then literally like less than 24 hours later, they release an update that's very negative in nature. The other really funny thing about the second update is if you go back and you look at the timestamps, this payment update was released at something like 2 in the morning. And when the company does that, that's them being real shady. But the update on the payment is, as you can see here, starting June 2023, Twitch will no longer offer a 70-30 split anymore. Streamers with a 70-30 split will now get a 50-50 split after earning 100K. So again, if you're earning more than 100K, you're essentially talking about the top like 5% of the platform, which is all of your major streamers. And so there's been some people out there saying, well, I don't understand why people are so upset when it's only the top 5%. Well, two reasons. One, with it being your top 5%, it's the people who are bringing in the most viewers to the platform. And then two, you have to remember this is a mindset thing. You know, if this is the kind of thing that they're willing to do to their top creators, then it spells bad for every person on the platform, right? It's also been interesting to see the reaction of this 70-30 announcement, because a lot of the people who originally created Twitch are no longer there. And a lot of them have been speaking out over the last few days, talking about how they think that this is terrible and how Twitch has gone downhill and just like all this stuff. And so a lot of the higher end content creators have been talking about going over to YouTube full time or some other service. And so if Twitch continues to do stuff like this, it's going to be very interesting to see where the platform goes. So yeah, we'll see. From one eye-rolling story to another, Star Citizen breaks $500 million in crowdsourced funding. A game that may never come out. Why are people still giving this game money? And for those who don't know, the funding and management and game dev of Star Citizen has been one disaster after another. It's just like, oh my, oh my. Anyway, moving on from one shady company to another. I think my transitions are pretty good today. One shady company to another. EA. Actually, EA has gotten better. Plus, we're talking about Motive anyway. Motive has announced that they are making an Iron Man game. This is good news, not bad news. Good news. It's also rumored that one of the developers at EA is also working on a Black Panther game, but that game has not officially been announced yet. This is very interesting because I feel like it's hard to talk about this without talking about Anthem. Because when Anthem came out, everybody's like, man, this would make an awesome Iron Man game. And now we've got this. Also, I just noticed my camera's off. So, Motive has a pretty good track record for making good stuff. So, hopefully they'll be able to make this game good. And honestly, I hope they talk to BioWare and be like, so can we get your flying code from Anthem? Because in Anthem, the flying and the combat was like the best two parts of that game. So just take the flying and combat from Anthem and then just fix the rest of it and you got yourself an Iron Man game. I'd be down for that. 100%. Going from one EA story to another. And honestly, I read stories like this, and I wish there was a way you could just ban people from the internet. You know, it's been said 1,000 times. Stop harassing developers. And yet, people keep doing it. And I don't understand it. But, yeah, a bunch of the Respawn developers have been getting harassed. And there's no place for it. And I wish there was some way of just banning these people for life. I don't know. Let's move on to some more interesting or positive stories. So, with the release of the Cyberpunk Netflix series, in addition to the Cyberpunk 2077 patches that have made the game really, really good, Cyberpunk 2077 has been spiking hard as far as the concurrent players. And as you can see here, Cyberpunk has now beaten Witcher 3 in concurrent, which is crazy to think about, considering that Witcher 3 is considered like one of the best games ever made and held the record for the most awarded game of all time for a long time. So, yeah, I'll have to go back. I need to go back and give Cyberpunk another shot at some point. I think I played like 20-some hours and then uninstalled it, so it's gotten so much better, and there's more patches coming that are going to make it even better, and then the expansion and all that fun stuff. So good for them for turning it around. And then our final story, and I'm curious, did anybody in chat play this game? This is my question for you. So the oldest current active MMO, and I believe this game came out in 1997. Anybody play this game? So they announced that after 25 years, they are finally adding sound to the game. Crazy story. So in 2 days, your game will be enhanced by sound. I feel like this is something that should come out of like the 70s or something. Some like Atari game that never had sound. And they're like, guys, we're finally adding sound to your game. Yeah, I've never heard of this one. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I can't even imagine playing a game that came out 25 years ago and it has no sound. That's weird to me. That's really, really crazy. But yeah, even anybody in the YouTube comments, if anybody's played that game, be curious to hear about it. So that'll go ahead and wrap it up for news. Let's go ahead and jump into trailers. First trailer is for a new game that I've never heard of. This is the early access trailer for Lost Fleet. Also, why is my quality so terrible? There we go. So let's check it out. Okay, I'm immediately intrigued. He's bumping that shit. Oh, is this like Freelancer? This looks like Freelancer in a different art style. I like the cutting beams. Action-based combat. Targeting is a little weird, but okay. Yeah, you normally don't see that kind of art style in a game like this. Most developers try and go with a more realistic approach. This is almost like WildStar. Lost Fleet. All right, cool stuff. No YouTube ads. We're not watching you. All right, next up we have got a... Oh, you know what? This is a VR game, so I'm going to skip it. I didn't realize it was a VR game. All right, next up we have a... This is called the Journey trailer for this old game that nobody plays, but we're going to check it out anyway. Here we go.
Gaze now upon the lands below us. They must all be shown the price of their defiance.
Hear that, lads? It's only the end of the world. Well, now, let's get this show on the road.
I suppose a welcome is in order. So welcome, insects. Welcome to my world.
It's a good way to lose a spear there, Torn. That's Naxxramas, right? Floating thing. Yeah, that's him right there.
So, you wish to commune with the dead? Very well.
It's the Death Knights.
Warriors of the frozen wastes, rise up. Let none survive.
Yeah, they're launching Classic. That's tomorrow. Look at that. Very cool. Next trailer. This is a show that I've never watched, but I know it's super popular. And I think this is a pretty smart deal from EA to be able to make this happen. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but this is... So, like,
He doesn't do things conventionally, but then again, none of the great managers do. He's proven he belongs in the game.
He didn't know a thing about football, but that didn't matter.
He's someone you just can't help but root for. He knows how to block out the noise.
He's a great manager and an even better man. And if you tell him I said that, I will brain you.
A tremendous strike! Out of this world! Well, it was a risky challenge. Oh, yes! Wonderful goal!
EA Sports. I'm in the game. Oh, did I sound like the guy?
Yeah, you sounded like the guy, Ted.
So Ted Lasso and his team are in FIFA 23. It's crazy. All right, next up we have the game launch preview trailer for Slime Rancher 2. Might check this out. It's on Game Pass. First one was really good. All the slimes are so happy. They're feeding chickens to the slimes. Man. This world's rough. The early access is available now, not the full game. Play it on Game Pass. All right, next up we have the launch trailer for Solstice. Let's take a look.
Rated M for mature.
The echo of the dead is just too strong. I can hear their cries, sister. All the lost souls.
This trailer's like soft.
Once the light of the kingdom. Now it burns.
Number one complaint I've been saying about this game is apparently the camera is really bad.
Before it's too late.
But that's really not that big of a surprise for games like this. Like these action combat DMCA style games always have camera issues.
Now it's my turn.
Yeah, visually it looks really nice.
But while the mortal body must perish, that which is immortal is bound to be reborn.
Cool. All right, we're on to our final two trailers. Both of these are Marvel's Midnight Suns. So they've been doing the thing where they have been essentially showing us one character at a time. And so this week they are showing us a character that I know very little about. And this is Magic. So we have the hero history and then the gameplay. So let's go ahead and see what this one's all about. So here we go. I think Magic is a somewhat...
Today's video is brought to you by Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Yes.
Now let's talk about Magic. Some characters in the Marvel Universe are just cheating. Take Magic, for example. Not only is she a mutant, but she's also an expert swordsman, powerful sorceress, and the ruler of a whole hell dimension. Like other magically powered characters, magic can't usually be separated from her magical history, even though she is a mutant and a member of the X-Men and New Mutants. Most of her important stories have been connected to her magical powers and the hell dimension known as Limbo. But first, of course, we gotta go into the history. Magik is a character that has always towed the line between hero and villain, though it's mostly due to the events that happened to her in her past. Also, the lack of having part of her soul might have something to do with it. Readers were first introduced to Illyana Rasputin in Giant-Sized X-Men #1 in May of 1974.
Oh, I was wrong.
She was Colossus's little sister and served as little more
I
than
thought
a
she was
background
new in the last
character
10
for
years.
several years. This would change when the character was kidnapped and brought to the dimension of Limbo, which, depending on the artist and writer's interpretations, is generally shown as a hellscape realm, which has demons and monsters and that kinds of stuff, but also sometimes alternate versions of established characters. But not all characters, usually just the ones that the writer needs for the story. She would reappear in Uncanny X-Men at number 160 in 1982, but now aged 7 years and explained now to be an expert swordsman and sorceress, as well as having the mutant ability to create teleportation discs, which actually allow her to step through time and space, though she still wouldn't be more than a background character. Eventually, fans would learn of Illyana's time in Limbo, and she would become a member of the New Mutants, the younger group of trainees at Xavier's school. The character would later die, but this being comics, the death wouldn't stick, and she would come back strong, being another important member of the mutant community, and eventually become the ruler of Limbo once again. The major moments in Illyana's life as a character are all tied to her magical abilities, the dimension of Limbo, and her history there. Born on a small farm in Russia, Illyana was the sister of Peter Rasputin, also known as Colossus, which I will definitely call him going forward so I don't do my horrible Russian interpretation of his name. She was brought to the United States when she was kidnapped by Arcade and saved by her brother and the X-Men. Afterwards, she stuck around in the background of some of the stories, but would eventually be kidnapped again and brought to the dimension of Limbo. She was brought here by Belasco, an ancient sorcerer whose goal was to free the Elder Gods and allow them access to the Earth. To do this, he kidnapped Illyana and attempted to corrupt her soul. She would then create bloodstones as her soul became more corrupted, which Belasco would use to fill the Bellatrix medallion, which would then be used to free the Elder Gods. Time would pass and Illyana would live a life of torment at the hands of Belasco's servant, Sim. But she would be rescued by Limbo's version of Storm, who trained her in the ways of white magic. But Illyana would also be trained in the ways of the Blade by Limbo's version of Kitty Pryde. With her new abilities, Illyana would attack Belasco's fortress and promptly be defeated and brought back under his control. Belasco would then decide to teach Illyana the ways of the black magic, believing that it would help corrupt her soul further. Not a great plan if I'm being honest though. Illyana uses all of her newfound abilities to create the Soul Sword, which she uses to defeat Belasco and take control of Limbo, banishing the sorcerer from her realms. She then opens up a portal back to Earth, joining the New Mutants, taking on the code name of Magik. Magik would then share several adventures with the New Mutants and the X-Men. Her powers would then begin to evolve. New armor would appear on her body when she wielded the Soul Sword, and she would fight against some of the most powerful magic wielders in the Marvel Universe. But her teleportation discs aren't an exact science kind of power. They would begin to get her into trouble. You see, after she opens up a portal, the New Mutants would accidentally be stranded in Limbo while the demons began an invasion of Earth. The mutants manage to stop them, and Illyana decides that to control the demons, she must resume her throne. But she is convinced to return to Earth and give up her magical powers and toss the Soul Sword back into Limbo. Magik would then try to continue on with her life on Earth, but would contract the legacy virus and die. But being comics, she got better, eventually. After the House of M events, Belasco decides that he's actually in love with Illyana and tries to use his magic to bring her back from the dead, using what is left of her soul that is within Limbo. But he only manages to create Darkchild, a demonic version of Magik that is none of Illyana's soul. Disgusted with the creature, Belasco banishes her to the edges of Limbo. But when the new X-Men end up in Limbo, Darkchild decides to help them, fighting against the hordes of demons. She uses their trust to rip out a piece of Pixie's soul, and she creates a soul dagger with a piece of that soul, but is defeated by the new X-Men, upon which her memories of her life as Illyana are then returned to her. Darkchild would then send the new X-Men back to Earth and once again reclaim her throne as the ruler of Limbo. but it would later be discovered that the Soul Sword was trapped inside of Nightcrawler, and Darkchild would return to the X-Mansion to claim it, becoming Illyana once again. She would then have to journey back into Limbo with the X-Men and defeat the Elder Gods, joining the team once again afterwards. She would go on to engineer a plan to release the Elder Gods onto Earth, so that she could then use Legion, one of the most powerful mutants and generally locked away so that he can't destroy reality kind of guys, to destroy them completely. But the X-Men learn how she put the world at risk to get her revenge on what the Elder Gods did to her, and they lock her away, which she doesn't even argue with. After the events of the Phoenix Five, Illyana becomes more powerful, but learned that her teleportation discs were actually destroying parts of Limbo every time she used them. Dormammu tries to kill her, but she manages to absorb all of Limbo, seemingly causing the dimension to
Cyclops with a
disappear.
Captain America shield?
Afterwards, Illyana then uses her teleportation discs to travel back in time, where she begins training under a younger Doctor Strange, hoping to learn to control her abilities better. And there you have it, magic. Now, there's nothing like a few wacky adventures inside of a hell dimension, but what new powers might magic gain in Marvel's Midnight Suns? Well, you're gonna have to play to find out. And check back with us to learn more about the exciting histories of some of the...
And we'll find out right now. Let's take a look. That's a crazy history. I mean, some of these Marvel characters, their history is just bonkers.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another superhero showcase from Marvel's Midnight Suns. My name's Christopher Odd and I run the channel by the same name. In partnership with Marvel and 2K, today's showcase highlights a hero that's near and dear to Marvel's Midnight Suns' own creative director, Jake Solomon's heart. We're looking at Illyana Rasputina, a powerful sorceress who rules the demonic realm known as Limbo. Known for being able to teleport across time and space, you may know her better as Magic.
What the hell is this? Lilith's Junior Demon League?
Wait, it's that jerk from TV. Which one?
As the Queen of Limbo, Magic's playstyle focuses on using her portals to move enemies, allies, and objects around the map at her will. I want to classify her as a support, but I don't think that does her capabilities justice.
Any more questions?
She has a really unique tool set that's going to make her one of your favorite superheroes on the roster by far. Magic will pair well with pretty much anyone, but will pull a bit more heroism from the pool, so plan accordingly. Her main trick is placing portals nearly anywhere on the map and then knocking enemies through them. So she has a nice amount of knockback cards. You could use something like Quick Soul Slash to knock enemies into explosives. You could try to use Kick to knock enemies into each other, or maybe you just Soul Blast someone through a portal into a drop.
I can see that being a lot of fun.
Very knockback heavy for all the right reasons. First up, let's look at her skill called Gather. Now, if you recall, I mentioned in the Hunter deep dive that it would be nice if there was a hero that could also group enemies together for setup purposes. Well, we've got a ding, ding, ding here. When casting Gather, Magic's going to damage and move each enemy in an area towards its center. On upgrade, you can increase its area of effect, and a late game mod could grant a 50% chance to apply one mark to affected units. I do hope that you guys are getting the impression now that there's a lot of possible combinations at play here. And if you start to think about some of the previous heroes that we covered, you should start to identify a lot of great combos. I mentioned earlier that her main trick is portals. If you're able to build your friendship with the Master of the Dark Arts, you are going to get even more portals to cast. At her level 1 passive, you'll get a 10% chance to generate a portal card after an enemy's knocked through a portal. And if you get that to level 2, that chance is going to jump to 25%. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't put this in the S tier passive category, but if you really focus on utilizing the portals as much as possible, there's a pretty good chance you'll have continuous portal cards in your hand to spam. Next up, we have a solid self-buff skill card for Illyana. It's called Limbo's Grasp. It's going to last for the entire mission. It's going to ensure that enemies take extra damage when they're knocked through a portal. Considering how frequently you're going to be using these portals, this card is a no-brainer for any Magic deck. On upgrade, this card will actually create a portal in addition to giving the buff. All the while, it's generating an above-average amount of heroism too. A late-game mod, if you're lucky, could see you getting extra redraws on it. Now, let's move to one of Magic's more unique heroic cards. It's called Banish. What if you could just remove an enemy from the battlefield? Probably OP, right? Okay. But what if you could just remove them for a turn? A little bit more balanced. But what if, hear me out here, instead of just banishing them, you replace them with a drop? Now we're talking. You may have seen drops in my Everything You Need to Know About Marvel's Midnight Suns video. When knocking an enemy into a drop, there's a percentage-based chance of an instant KO. That percentage is going to increase the lower the enemy's health is. Now this alone is pretty cool, but there's more to Banish than this. What if an enemy is targeting somebody at critical health? Well, just banish them for a turn and deal with them later. Wouldn't it be cool if Banish could actually target your own allies? Yeah, well, you got it. Banish's upgrade gives you that ability. Last up, we have Magic's Midnight Suns heroic ability, Dark Child. Now, this is going to be best used when you're feeling totally overrun by enemies. It feels like just the most massive save that you could ever have. Dark Child's going to dip into Ilyana's love for the dark magic and make her invulnerable for a turn and taunt every enemy on the map. Now, that alone is huge. But the special sauce comes when Dark Child is upgraded. On upgrade, the card's also going to grant counter for a turn, and magic is going to hit back while being invulnerable on every enemy that strikes her.
That's crazy.
Does be done.
Huh.
Do not cross me again.
Good here.
Now, I've also got a little bonus for you today, a small tease, if you will. You ever wonder what your other superheroes are up to while you send your 3 main participants out to combat missions? You may not know the answer, but Magic sure does. I'm just gonna show you this, and you do what you will with this information. I'm not gonna expand on it. Enjoy.
So she
now,
can.
If you didn't see the recent announcement, let me be the one to.
So she can just summon in anyone. That's what that is. Right? I wonder how long that lasts, though.
Does be done.
I backed up the footage here for a second.
Cross me again.
Good here.
Now, I've also got a little bonus for you.
So you got Magic, the Hunter, and Captain America here.
Today, a small tease, if you will. You ever wonder what your other superheroes are up to while you send your 3 main participants out to combat missions? You may not know the answer, but Magic sure
So that's Doctor Strange.
Does. I'm just gonna show you this, and you do what you will with this information.
That's
I'm not
Spider-Man.
gonna expand on it. Enjoy. Now, if you didn't see the recent announcement, let me be the one to tell you. We have a new release date of December 2nd. I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on this game and do a full playthrough. I'm also going to be doing a full playthrough on my own channel, so if you're not subscribed to Christopher Rod on YouTube, now would be a great time to do that. Make sure you're subscribed to the official Midnight Suns channel as well. We're going to continue to post some juicy videos here, and check out all the links down below for anything Midnight Suns related. Thanks again to Marvel and 2K for working with me on this series. We'll be back with another deep.
Yeah, they still have another, like, 5+ heroes to do on this series. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Cool stuff. Yeah, I think that game is going to be a lot of fun. For those who are watching on YouTube, that'll go ahead and do it for this one. So, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time.